Well, our kids have enjoyed a lot of freedom in summer break, and now it's time for that back-to-school plan, back-to-school bed schedules. Dr. Shelby Harris is a clinical psychologist and director of sleep health at Sleepopolis, and she is with us today. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, this is a timely topic, my dear. Parents have had, the kids have been able to stay up later, sleep later. So how do we discipline ourselves as parents and grandparents to get our kids back on schedule?
I think it's rough for everyone in the family, not just the kids, because a lot of times, myself included, we tend to drift a lot later and have less routine.
Right.
So the first thing I always try to stress for everyone is to try and think as far ahead as you can. A lot of times people kind of get really anxious about it a day or two before, and that can help, but do it a week or two before if you can. And the first thing is just to start getting a stable bedtime, wake time. So if you're all over the place, just pick a bedtime and wake time for yourself and your kids and try to stick with that. And then every day, move it about 15 minutes earlier. So the bedtime and wake time slowly moves earlier. So you kind of get to your target time, but a little bit more gradually and not with that harsh reality that the next day school's starting.
Well, and great advice for all of us. And what happens to our children as far as development if they don't have healthy sleep habits?
Yeah, I think the first thing we have to think about is we're talking about back to school, right? So if kids are not getting enough sleep routinely, or even actually after one or two nights, what we find is that there's more behavior problems in school. So a lot of kids get misdiagnosed as having ADHD because they're actually sleepy. Sleepy kids look hyperactive a lot of time, believe it or not. And the other thing we see is a lot of problems with learning. They're just not taking things in and focusing in the same way. And they're not allowing nighttime to process all that information. And the other big thing we see with kids is that they grow when they're sleeping. Their brains and their bodies grow. So if you're not allowing for enough time for sleep, they're not going to grow in so many different ways.
Well, and speaking of time, what's the recommended time? It's all over the charts, I think. Parents are confused. What do children need?
It really does vary based on the age. So I actually recommend for a lot of people, if you're not sure, go to the National Sleep Foundation. They have wonderful charts, and it's not an exact number for certain kids, but generally younger kids, 10, 11 hours for many of the elementary school kids. And then as they start to get into that preteen, teen time, 9.5-ish hours for that great age group. But there is a range for every age as well. So it's not exactly on the dot. You might have a kid who sleeps a little less or one who sleeps a little more.
I hear parents concerned about my teenager is sleepy all the time. Why is that?
Yeah, I have one myself. So the big thing is that school start times are really early in many parts of the country. So teenagers naturally start to go to bed later, and this happens a lot over the summer with teenagers, right? They just stay up a lot later and they sleep a lot later in the morning. And then when school starts, they have to get up a lot earlier, but their biology doesn't naturally allow them to go to sleep earlier. So we're really fighting for later school start times, a minimum of an 8:30 a.m. start, because then it allows them to get more sleep routinely. Teenagers are constantly sleep deprived.
Right. We noticed that in our family as well.
Yeah.
Dr. Harris, send our viewers to a website where they can learn more.
So you can learn more. I have a lot of educational videos on sleepopolis.com, which is a wonderful resource. You can get a lot of info there. And I also have an Instagram account that's Sleep Doc Shelby, and I have a lot of information in there as well.
Well, this has been great information this morning. Thank you so much for your insights.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And we'll have more local lifestyles for you right after this. Stick around.